Hello and welcome back. This is part 4 of my Tyranid Codex overview slash review, whatever you want to call it. In the last episode we went over troops, and in this one we're going to be talking about the elite slot. So let's go ahead and jump right in now. In the last book, this was the full slot. You know, all your good units were coming out of heavy or coming out of elites, and so you're running out of options really fast. So let's see what we're going to be filling our elites with now. So first thing in elites is the Hive Guard, which, you know, everybody loved the Hive Guard. So how do they stand up against the last book? Well, they got a new kit, so you would assume Games Workshop would make them just even better. They didn't. They actually toned them down a little bit, made them a little more expensive. So let's see what they got. The Hive Guard went up from 50 points base to 55 points base, so a 5-point upgrade there. Stat-wise, they're weapon skill 4 still. They're now ballistic skill 3, so they dropped a point. They're strength 5, toughness 6 with 2 wounds, initiative 2, 2 attacks, leadership 7 with a 4-up save still. So a 5-point increase, and they lost a point of ballistic skill. That's kind of harsh, but okay, I'll give that to them. Mainly because everyone was spamming them, I guess. As far as their gun, they come standard with the Impaler Cannon, which is stat-wise the same. It's strength 8, you know, 24-inch, strength 8, AP 4, with what is it? I think it's called homing. Let me see. I lost my page, but I think it's called homing now. Yep, 24-inch, strength 8, AP 4, assault 2, homing with ignores cover. Homing means that it can fire at targets outside the line of sight, and of course, ignore cover is better than the last one where it had those weird rules where if something lied between you, they were in it, but now it just ignores cover. So, okay, so the gun's the same. So the only thing is, for 5 points more, you get the exact same Hive Guard with a slightly better gun that doesn't hit as often, because now ballistic skill 3 instead of ballistic skill 4. So, you know, that's unfortunate. Okay. It may include up to 2 additional Hive Guard, 55 points a model. They can replace their Impaler Cannon with the new Shock Cannon at 5 points a model. Now, I wasn't impressed with this. The Shock Cannon is 18-inch range, so 6 inches shorter, strength 5, AP 5, so both of those are worse, and it's assault 1, but it's blast and it has haywire. Well, I don't know. I still seem to think that the Impaler Cannon is better. And you get 2 more shots. Yeah, the Shock Cannon's blast, but I don't know about everybody else, but I'm not seeing enough vehicles to justify a strength 5 AP 5, shorter range, no ignoring cover, and you have to have line of sight. If I'm going to run Hive Guard, which I probably still will, I'm going to run them with the Impaler Cannon. There's no question. The entire unit can now take Toxin Sacs for 3 points per model, or Adrenal Glands for 5 points. Okay? They have Instinctive Behavior Hunt, which is the one where if they fail, they'll hunker down and shoot, or go to ground on 1 to 3, so you're not going to want to leave these guys alone. And they have Very Bulky. So, that's Hive Guard. So, not too much different. You're still going to run them with Impaler Cannons, unless, I don't know, unless the Shock Cannon just, maybe I'm missing something, but I think the Impaler Cannon is just a solid, better choice. Okay, so next up is Lictors. Now, I've always loved Lictors, so I really wish they were better. But they're 50 points a model. They come singular. You can add up to 2 additional ones for 50 points apiece. So, but they're weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 3, strength 6, toughness 4, 3 wounds each, at initiative 6, with 3 attacks, leadership 10 with a 5-up save. They come with Rending Claws, Scything Talons, and Flesh Hooks, so they come with Assault Grenades and Rending. And so they technically have 4 attack space because of the 2 melee weapons. And they have a laundry list of special rules. I mean, they've got Chameleon Skin, Deep Strike, Fear, Fleet, Hit and Run, Instinctive Behavior, Lurk, Infiltrate, Move Through Cover, Pheromone Trail, Stealth, and Very Bulky. Now, so if you've watched my HQ video, you'll know that Chameleon Skin means you can Deep Strike without scattering, and Pheromone Trail is now a 6-inch teleport homer for Tyranids. But the Lictor is like before, the Lictor has to be on the board for a turn. And unlike Death Leaper, these guys don't have the cool snapshot only rule. So they're going to be out there a little bit. and they're taking up elite slot, which is pretty important in this book. So it's still important. It's not the autofill with Doom and Hive Guard like it used to be, but you know. By the way, Doom is gone, and they rub it in our face a little bit. Where is it? Yeah, on the Zoanthrope page, right here, down here, this little corner thing is a text blurb. It's the fluff. It's the fluff entry from the previous book for the Doom and Malantine. But that's what we get. There's also the same thing in here about the Ymgarl Gene Stealers on the Gene Stealer page, and on the Ripper page, it has the same thing for the Parasite of Mortrex. Now the Dominatrix one is in there. There's one in here for the Malanthrope on the Venomthropes page, but it's kind of just the Doom and Malantine one just felt wrong. It's like, hey, look, Zoanthropes, but you can't have Doom anymore. So what are you gonna do? Okay, so lictors, no, not thinking. Now, talking about Doom and Malantine, we have the Zoanthropes now. Now, they've changed quite a bit, too. Whereas the Hive Guard got more expensive, Zoanthropes got 10 points cheaper. They're now 50 points apiece. Biggest problem I have with the Zoanthropes now is they don't have Spore Pods to drop down in. So they're relegated to backfield. They're going to be support, but unfortunately our Psychic table's not good enough to justify with these guys, and I'll explain why. Zoanthropes are weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 4, strength and toughness are both 4 still, 2 wounds, initiative 3, 1 attack each, leadership 10. They now have a 5-up save. They still have their 3-up invuln though. They still have warp field. They're very bulky, synapse creatures with shadows of the warp, and then they have Brotherhood of Psychers and Psychic Brood. And let's go look at that now. If you're not familiar with Brotherhood of Psychers, it's the unit is treated as a single psyker, basically, and they if they manifest a power, one of them, you choose one of the models to be generating the power, and so if you get a Shadows or as Perils of the Warp, it'll hit that one model. So if you play Grey Knights, you know they're all Brotherhood of Psychers. The difference here is. Psychic Brood is a brood of Zoanthropes. Follow all the rules for Brotherhood of Psychers, except that the unit has Mastery level 2. All the other Brotherhood of Psychers have Mastery level 1. In addition, if a brood of Zoanthropes uses Warp Blast, the number of shots fired is equal to the number of Zoanthropes. So, whereas in the last edition we had to make 3 Psychic tests to fire 3 Warp Blasts, and the enemy got 3 Deny the Witches, now we only have to manifest it once for 3 shots, but they only have to deny it with 1. So, you know, read that as, take that as you will. Zoanthrope Brood always knows the Warp Blast power, and the unit can generate 1 additional power from Powers of the Hive Mind. So, Zoanthropes without a drop pod, I don't like them as much, but you might still have some good use for them. They're in there. They're definitely still viable. They'd be decent support depending on the other power you roll, but the problem is, you know, you're looking at 24 or 18-inch range on Warp Blast, so, but the rest of the army's going to be there too, so it's not that big a deal. Okay, my new favorites in this book, one of them, Venomthropes. 45 points a model, take them up to Broods of 3 with 45 points, obviously, for additional ones. They are initiative or weapon skill and ballistic skill 3, strength and toughness 4, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, 3 initiative, leadership 6 with a 5-up armor save. Okay, they have lash whips and toxic miasma. We haven't touched on toxic miasma yet, or miasma, not miasma. It is once per game in any assault phase, a unit with this biomorph can unleash its miasma. If it does so, at initiative step 1, all enemy units engaged in the combat suffer a number of hits equal to the number of models from that unit in base contact with the model from the Tyranid that is unleashing the miasma. These hits are strength 3, AP nothing, and have poison and ignore cover. So, not bad. You don't really... Your Venomthropes are not meant for melee. Now, I'll explain why. Let me... If you've had them... If you used them last book, you'll remember what they do. They do very similar things. They have Instinctive Behavior Lurk. They have a 2+ poison. They're very bulky, and they have Shrouded themselves. And now they still have Spore Cloud, but now it's every model All friendly models from Codex Tyranids that are within 6 inches of at least one Venomthrope gain Shrouded. Now, I've seen a lot of people online already confuse this, saying that, okay, well now only the models within 6 inches of the Venomthrope have Shrouded. That is true, but if you read the Shrouded rules in the Army book, if one model in a unit has Shrouded, it confers it to the whole unit. So you don't have to pile your 3 groups of Termagants all around the Venomthrope to get covered. Just one model from each is enough. Now you probably want more than one in 6 inches just in case someone jumps down and kills him. But the problem is he's still gonna, and so in most cases Venomthrope's gonna be rocking a 3-up cover. So against a lot of armies you'll be okay. But Tau, even though the Venomthropes give us, you know, some of our best defense in this book, the Tau are still going to walk right over him because of how easy it is for them to ignore cover, along with a couple other armies. And he's still only strength 4, toughness 4 with a 5-up save. So ignoring cover weapons firing at him, he's going to be hurting. But a star from just reading the book. First impressions, he's one of my favorite things in the new book because Shrouded is so much better than the old just 5-up cover. Okay, now we got the new big boy in the slot, okay? The Horospec. Now give me just a second. Okay, now I actually bought one of these. I actually have 2 of them because I made an Exocrine. But there is the Horospec. I haven't had a chance to paint it yet. Really cool looking model. Unfortunately, not gonna show up on the table too much. Instead of except for fun games. I really like the. I know light's kind of iffy. Oh, that's not good. Anyway, it's hard to see since it's not painted. But the mouth is really cool. There's a lot of detail in like the tentacles. But regardless, I like him. Sort of. Let's put a caveat in that. He's 160 points and he is a melee monster. Like that's what he's supposed to do. He's a melee creature. He is one of 2 old ones along with the Exocrine that have returned, or Exocrine. I think it's Exocrine. That's the way I've always pronounced it. I'm probably wrong. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. Anyway, they were old epic monsters. There were armor cast models. The Horospec had 2 big lobster claws, and I had both of them along with the Venomthrope, and I don't remember the other one. There was one that like threw spore balls. For the life of me, I can't remember. I sold all those models a long time ago, but you know, there you go. So I like the new model, but let's get to the rules. He's 160 points. He is the only monster in Elites, but that means that there is a monstrous creature in all slots. So for fun Nidzilla lists, you can use him, and he's not awful. He's just not real, like he's not competitive. Okay, so let's go over him. He has weapon skill and ballistic skill 3. Now that's the first thing that kind of bothers me. All of these melee monsters have weapon skill 3. They're dedicated for melee. Why such a low weapon skill? Anyway, weapon skill, ballistic skill 3, strength and toughness 6, and he has only 5 wounds. Initiative 3, 3 attacks base, leadership 7, and a 3-up armor save. So yeah, so there he is. The 5 wounds threw me off because all the other big oval base monsters are 6 wounds, but him and the Exocrine are 5 wounds. So whatever. He only has 1 melee weapon, which is Crushing Claws, and then he's got Acid Blood, which we've already been over, and Grasping Tongue. And I can't remember the exact stats on Grasping Tongue. It's a 12-inch range gun, Strength 6, AP 2, Assault 1 with Gulp. And Gulp just basically means all to hit rolls on 6 with this weapon result in a precision shot. So that's kind of handy. Fire it before he charges in, but it's not going to come up too much. He's fearless, he has instinctive behavior feed, and he has 2 special rules, Feeder Beast and Rapacious, or whatever, Hunger. I'm not sure what that is, but really weird. But anyway, Rapacious, I think it's Rapacious Hunger, whatever. Anyway, Feeder Beast, if he inflicts at least 1 unsaved wound in the assault phase, then at the end of the phase he recovers a single wound. Okay, this is my first problem. Really? Couldn't recover all of them. He's supposed to be some big beast that charges in and eats people. He's screaming to get regeneration because you want him to run in and stand there and hold up people. Now his Hunger ability is in the turn in which the Horospec charges, each unsaved wound that is inflicted in close combat immediately allows another attack. Now, these are like Blood Talons again, but unlike Old One Eye, where Old One Eyes are on the hit, these are on the unsaved wounds. But he's AP 2 because he's monster, and Strength 7 because of the Crushing Claws. But these bonus attacks, again, don't generate further attacks, and wounds that inflict instant death only generate a single attack. Note that wounds caused by Hammer of Wrath, Acid Blood, and any tail biomorphs do not benefit from it. Of course they don't. Why would they? But anyway, so there was an early rumor on this guy that he would get a bonus attack for each wound that he had on him. That would have been awesome, but. And there was also a rumor that every wound he caused would heal him one instead. Both those rumors were floating around. Neither of them turned out to be true. Either one of them would have been good. I think they would have been good, or just a points drop. If he was more like 130 points, maybe at 160, if the board's got a lot of terrain, or if you're playing like a city fight match, something like that where there's a lot of terrain blocking, he can get in there and do some damage. But he's just not going to be a powerhouse. And maybe I'm wrong, but he reminds me too much of the Mauler Fiend in Chaos Space Marines, and it's a really cool idea of the model, but no one plays them. I mean, they're just not that good. And they're beasts. They move like beasts. He doesn't. That would have been a big thing. He can also take items from the Biomorph list, so he can take Regeneration or get Fleet, and he can get the Thresher Scythe, which is the same thing. I think it was, Strength 5, AP 5, or something like that. Let me see. Strength 4, AP 4 Rending. That's right. Same thing Old One Eye had. So he's like a big, weird Old One Eye monster. So, that's what he seems like. He seems like a bigger, stranger version of Old One Eye. Okay, and the last thing in Elites, I shouldn't even mention them, Pyrovors. Really cool looking model that they introduced in the last book. They still don't want to sell them. Its rules are not that good. And in his current state, if they had Spore Mines still, I could maybe see using it because they're 40-point heavy flamers with 3 wounds and toughness 4. You could drop them at the sky now since they're only 40 points. They might do okay. But the problem is they're in Elite and they're just up against too much stuff, and they still have a lot of problems with their rules. So 40 points a model, weapon skill and ballistic skill 3, strength and toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 2, attacks 2, leadership 6. Save 4+. They have instinctive behavior feed, very bulky, and volatile are the special rules. Now, volatile is written just amazingly bad right now. Okay, so this is the exact wording on volatile. If a Pyrovor is slain by a wound that inflicts instant death, every unit suffers a strength 3 AP nothing hit for each model, excluding the Pyrovor, within D6 inches of the slain Pyrovor. Resolve damage before moving the Pyrovor as a casualty. Now, it doesn't say every unit suffers a strength 3 AP nothing hit for each model in that unit within D6 inches of the Pyrovor. No, it just says every unit suffers. So, I know what they're going for, but rules is written, if this thing gets instant death, it explodes and rains acidic death. Well, it's strength 3 AP nothing, so it rains a light breeze upon the world. They'll FAQ it, guaranteed that it's supposed to be every model suffers, every unit suffers a strength 3 AP nothing hit for each model in that unit, not period. But regardless, that still doesn't make him good. And he's also got Acid Blood and Acid Maw and Flame Spurt. So let's see what those do. Acid Maw, we've gone through Acid Blood before. Flame Spurt is this is another problem. It's a template, Strength 6 AP, or Strength 5 AP 4 Assault 1, not Torrent. Come on, give him Torrent. This book is very stingy with Torrent, by the way. This one should have been a Torrent weapon. There's no reason for it not to be. So I think that would have been a little bit of a fix. Acid Maw, also kind of a miss. In close combat, a model with this biomorph can exchange all of his attacks. The Pyrovor gets 2 normally to make a single Acid Maw attack with the following. It's Strength 5 AP 2. So he goes from Strength 5 or Strength 4 AP nothing, 2 attacks, 3 on the charge to a single AP 5 or strength 5, AP 2 attack, but he's only weapon skill 3. So maybe they're more powerful than I think, but they're going to sit it out for me. So that is the elite section, okay? All in all, what do I think of elites? Hive Guard is still good, even though they got a little more expensive. They got 5 points more expensive, and they don't shoot as well anymore. But I still think they're great. Zoanthropes, they're still good, but they have a different role since they can't drop down in the back anymore. If you take them and you get Catalyst, great. If you take them and you get Onslaught, that could be good depending on the army you're running. Even if you have to switch out for Dominion, they can walk across the board giving an 18-inch bubble of synapse with on a model with 3-up invuln and multiple wounds, but they're a little expensive for that. So I still like them. But the stars for me are Venomthropes. I'm probably going to run in an actual serious list. I'll probably run 2 groups of Venomthropes and a group of Hive Guard, or maybe 1 group of Venomthropes and 2 groups of Hive Guard, depending on the makeup of the rest of the army. If it's a big swarm list, I'll probably run 2 groups of Venoms and 1 group of Hive Guard. I think Hive Guard and Venoms both have to work in the codexes. Unfortunately, there's not going to be a whole lot of choices there. And Horospec, I like him. I like the model. I'll probably field him occasionally, but I don't see him being real competitive. Not at 160 points. But being the only monster in elites, if you're doing a Nidzilla, replace your Hive Guard with a Horospec and still take Venomthropes, because you're going to need them, and they're going to be a huge fire magnet. But anyway, so that's the end of this episode on elites. In the next episode, we'll be hitting fast attack, and then we'll go from there. So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a good one.